All right, next we have the main man himself, David Lee Garza. David, first I want to say that I am honored and I appreciate the fact that you asked me to come and do this. Um, I remember the days of back in the days when we used to play your records in a radio business, and I've had been affiliated with Tejano Music for a long time. So when you asked me to do this, I was honored to come out and help you out with this project. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Henry. When I was asked, who do we get to just to interview the guys or talk about your project, and I said, what, Henry Peña. I mean, I remember back in the day, you'd bring on Sonny Ozuna, the Latin Breed, and the way you did it, and it was just amazed me, being young and so young in the onda Tejana that we were doing. So I always remembered you, and I said, we're gonna ask Henry if he'll come out and do this for us.
A little nostalgic, bring back a little bit of the Pepsi Peña show.
There you go.
So thank you so much for this. I want to pick your brain a little bit. I know this is kind of a solo project on your own, and where did the concept come from?
It was lots of material that we had that was left over when we did Los Musicales CDs. You always go and record 10, 12, 13, 14 songs. So we had songs that were left over that right. Maybe didn't fit the musicales. So that being the case, we having all these songs, and I talked to my dad. I talked with my dad, and I told him, Dad, I have several songs that I'd like to put together on a CD, and I'd like to ask different artists to come in and sing them because they've asked me to be on their projects. I think if I ask them, I don't think anybody will say no. And sure enough, the moment I picked up the phone and asked them. And told them about this Just Friends project. Everybody was more than happy to do it. So that's where the concept came from, and we had a great time doing it.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think one of the reasons that they came out the way they did is because you have elevated yourselves to a very high standard. You're a professional, a consummate professional. You continue to work. You're consistent. Your music is consistent. You're always a crowd pleaser. They always come out to see you, and that's just called respect from your peers. And when your peers respect you, then certainly they're going to all raise their hand and say, I want to be a part of it. I want to be a part of it. And really, this whole thing has the makings of another one, because you said you recorded 16, 15 songs. You only got about 10 of them here, so I think you've got more in the can.
I've got several phone calls from guys that didn't get on.
Exactly.
First they said, okay, are you going to do another one? Are you going to do another one? Because I want to be on it. And I said, yeah, sure. We'll talk about the Volume 2.
Yeah, there you go.
Volume 2.
Absolutely. And this DVD really gives you a chance to get to know the artist one-on-one. It's hard for the fans to actually get to know what the artist is like because they're singing. You don't know what they're thinking, what they're like, and that's why the fan always wants to come out and say, can you autograph this for me? Hoping to communicate with the artist a little bit. They come out and buy your T-shirts because they want to take a souvenir home. But here we talked to them today, kind of got their feeling, their personality, and I think you did a great job with the lineup that you did today. So congratulations to you. That's awesome.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And another point I want to touch on, we're going to have these people, our friends that from all over Texas that we've invited to come and dance. I think it's very important for our young generation to see that when their parents go to the dance, they don't just go to sit down and listen to the music. They get up and dance. And everybody has their unique style of dancing. So we're going to try to feature a little bit of that along with our all this wonderful lineup of vocalists that we have on Just Friends.
Well, I can tell you this: from the Pepsi Peña show, the show is on the dance floor. I can tell you that right now because I know you guys are performing on stage, but when you get out here and see the fans dance, everybody has a different outfit on. They got their own way of dancing. Music is a medicine, and it makes you happy. It makes you laugh. It makes you fall in love. The whole thing. And when you guys are playing, they got out here and they show what they're made out of, and that's what the dance floor is about. And it really makes the show all together. So I think that the dancing in this DVD is going to be a little spin-off of that old Pepsi Peña show, which is that's kind of nice. One of the other persons I want to talk about, which is, of course, I think every organization that has a structure needs a foundation.
Right.
And the foundation for David Lee is your friend, a longtime friend of yours, Joey. Joey Rodriguez.
Yes.
And Joey is the guy who actually is in charge of the business, in charge of the direction of which way you're going, makes the business decision, because you're busy enough making calls on the music, and you have to be involved. But Joey has been such a strong part of your organization. I got to give him props for this. He's the one who first called me, and then they put it together. But I've seen him so many times working behind the scenes and keeping you moving forward. And you need a guy like that in an organization. You can't do it by yourself.
You can't do it by yourself. Joey, man, he's like a brother to me, and
right.
He's been with me over 20 years, booking the band, booking los musicales, and we're constantly on the phone talking,
right.
and he's always keeping me busy. I say, Joey, can I have tomorrow off? I'm gonna go play golf. And he said, well, okay, what time do you finish? I got something for you to do. So yeah, hats off to Joey, man.
Yeah,
he's beautiful, and like I said, he makes it happen.
Yeah, well, I've participated in your golf tournaments, and when I go there, the first guy you see is Joey, because he's in the middle of everything. You know what I'm saying?
He's got that hand out there.
Yeah,
like, okay,
getting it done.
Who's going to pay?
Exactly. And the last time we were in Vegas, when you did that show in Vegas, Joey was running back and forth trying to get everything, all the logistics and strategies to make sure that the show went on well. Right. So my hat's off to you, Joey, and thank you very much for being a part of this organization and the great foundation and the leadership that you've given David Lee. So David, I want to talk about the two songs that you're going to do.
Okay. Which one?
The instrumentals.
The instrumental?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got an instrumental song. It's two polkas that we put together. I took them to Gilbert Velasquez, the producer, and I told him, Gilbert, I got these two polkas, but they're not your typical polkas. I said they're a little bit more sophisticated. They got more keys and changes and this and that. He says, "Oh, give it to me. I'll make it work." So Gilbert put it together, and I go back in the studio to do my part, the accordion, and I was amazed. They did a wonderful job. Him and Mario Ortiz and.
So would you say that these polkas are more for the musicians, or?
Yeah, they're more for the musicians, I would say. And they're two polkas that my dad asked me to learn when I was much younger. And my dad had a saying. He says, "If you learn this polka, then I will call you. You'll be called a musician. Eres músico," he would tell me. Entonces, si eres músico. And then I would learn that polka. And then I told him, "Dad, I learned the polka." He says, "Okay, well, when you learn this other one, then you're going to really be called a musician." So I guess up to now I'm not a musician, but I did those two songs in his honor, and I named them Tony's Favorites.
Awesome. That is great. A great tribute to your dad. Of course, I knew your dad. Fine gentleman. I would run into him from time to time at all the Tejano venues we used to do downtown and that kind of thing. But that's a great tribute to your dad and to your family. Of course, that is the second support staff that you have. Your family has got to be there with you. And I think that your organization has, of course, Joey, yourself, and then the family to support you. You really can't go wrong with that. And it shows when you perform and when they come out and see you. And I think the fans understand that, and that's why they've gone out right now and bought the CD. And hopefully they'll enjoy this DVD, because you and I are talking about the way this thing was put together.
Correct. And it's kind of hard to get on the road and with all these different vocalists, because they have their own tour schedule and everything. Right. So to get them all together at one time is kind of hard. So that's why Joey and we said, let's do the DVD like that. Our fans can see that they did record with us, and they can see what they look like and what they sound like again, on this DVD.
Great history here. This is a CD and a DVD you must put in your collection. So, David, thank you so much again for asking me to be here. It's an honor.
Thank you.
And enjoy the rest of the show. And we got David coming up pretty quick.